Clemson goes on the road to NC State. Both of those teams have the same record, 4-3. Line is -10 Clemson as we sit here now, and 44 on the over-under.
I've gone back and forth on this one because it just is it weird to anybody else that Brennan Armstrong lost his job and nobody really even talked about it?
It really is weird.
God, him and Devin Leary are just Spider-Man, Jeff.
Well, it's just everybody acted
weird.
Everybody acted like, oh, Brennan Armstrong, that was a huge deal.
He was going back really with good Robert quarterback.
Going back with Robert and I just, I know they're coming off a bye week, right? I like MJ Morris. I think he's going to continue to grow. But if you're Clemson, and I know the Cade Klubnik played look bad, you've gotten off the mat a couple times this year. Will you be able to get off the mat again? Because it's kind of like they'll figure it out. Like Clemson, you lose a couple games early. We all remember the Duke game, what happened in the red zone. But there seems to be so much negativity at Clemson right now. Like, can you get out of that negative cloud bubble? Cade Klubnik keeps the ball when he wasn't supposed to keep the ball last week. You lose the game. Miami beats you with their backup quarterback. All this stuff about Dabo coming out. One of the biggest strengths that we talked about with Clemson, with the Dabo Swinney emergence, was how strong the culture was, right? Like how together. People don't transfer from Clemson. Nobody ever leaves Clemson. There's a lot of negativity swirling around right now. So I wonder, has that locker room reached their breaking point? NC State sees an opportunity. Maybe you got a new life with the way it's gone with the new quarterback. I find it weird, going back and looking at that Florida State game, or not the Florida State game, but the last game that NC State played. I just find it weird that nobody really talked about the MJ Morris or the Brennan Armstrong
thing. A little bit weird. I still like Clemson in this game to bounce back, but I will say this about NC State. Those 3 losses they have are to Duke on the road, against Louisville, 13-10 by 3 points there. You and I watched that game together, Jake. And then Notre Dame the second week of the season when Notre Dame was ranked 10. And Notre Dame's going to be at home for this one. Or, NC State's going to be at home for this one.
Yeah, they really haven't beaten anybody either. I mean, you beat Virginia, VMI, UConn, and Marshall. So, I mean, what have you really... I like Clemson's 4-3 and 2-3 in conference.
Do you like the under in this game? Does anybody else really like the under?
44.
It's at 44. I mean, MJ Morris, again, you look at his stat line, it's hard because he did throw the ball 40 times, right? He threw the interception, but he was also their leading rusher by 10 carries last game. So if that's what you're relying on, if you're relying on MJ Morris to be an effective runner at quarterback, I guess you do have Brennan Armstrong as a backup you can always put in. How much can NC State score against Clemson?
You're scoring 3 versus Duke, so, you're not going to put up a lot of points against Clemson.
Even
at the end of the day, this Clemson's defense is still a pretty damn good defense. Yeah. Their offense is just not even close to what Clemson's offense we're used to seeing. We might have just got spoiled with Clemson. You think of the guys that they've rolled in at quarterback, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. Those were generational.
Well, I'm not ready to quit on Cade Klubnik, but is this who Clemson is now? At some point is the good old days in the past. DJU didn't work out. Still trying to figure out on Klubnik. But even with DJU, even with Klubnik, the skill position players have not been up to the level that we saw. Did Clemson just get really hot over a short period of time? Was this a blip? Speaking of smooth, David, your skin, I'm not trying to get weird here, but is super duper silky smooth. Mine is too. I'm loving it. Sometimes I'll just touch my face, make sure it's there. I don't know what happened in Helsinki in 1961, but
don't bring it up. I don't want to talk about it.
Blaine, you've come over to the Genucel train now.
Yeah.
How you liking it?
Liking it. I'm loving it.
Oh God, I love that.
The skin.
That's the best. It's skincare
like a vampire shining in the sun.
That's exactly right. Twilight. It's for men and women. It's total skincare. They've got everything. They got a new product called Genucel 3, which works fast on under eye bags and puffiness. You don't want to look like Puffy the Vampire Slayer. It's smoother, it's more luxurious, and it uses advanced technology to deliver complex vitamins and minerals that I'm not smart enough to understand directly to your face for instant hydration. Their Fall Classics package includes a jawline treatment for a more firm neck and jawline. We know how far that jawline goes. Not a lot of superheroes that don't have good jawlines. All right, so if you're trying to better yourself, trying to come out the phone booth and get to business, you may want to check this out. And the way you can do that, go to genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster for extra discounts on this amazing fall package. Get your skin ready for the cold and dry weather. If you don't look and feel if you don't look and feel your absolute best, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. That's Genucel.com/booster.
Dabo will forever have done more with the Clemson program than anyone else had done, and probably more than we thought was possible there. 2 national championships in an era where Alabama was winning all of them, and Kirby Smart was coming on at Georgia. 2 natties, and even the last couple years, 10-win season a year ago?
Yeah, and I'm talking about championship. That's the standard that he raised.
Yeah.
There's a key word.
The drop-off in talent.
Yeah, on the outside, not up front. I think offensive line-wise, they're fine. They've been about where they were outside of that 1 year with Deshaun. But, I mean, there's a key word you use there, have. You didn't say is doing or has, been doing this year. Have. That's what I'm saying. Like, celebrate the greatness that happened. But at what point do you start worrying, hey, we have obviously elevated our program, but did we hit our ceiling a couple years ago and we're kind of like confetti coming back down and settling a little bit? I don't know.
Just a weird amount of drop off because you got NC State this week. Then you got Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got Georgia Tech. Good about that.
You don't feel as good about that as you felt the last couple
years.
You
got North Carolina. All right, then you got to go to the road in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You might only win 6 games. Or you might win 6 or 7 games. You go 7-5.
And that would be a stark difference.
Could you imagine one of us sitting up here before the season started, you know what? I think Clemson goes 7-5.
In the ACC.
In the ACC.
Mm-hmm. And that's different than going 10-2 and everyone saying, oh, Dabo Swinney's done.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a difference between 6-6 and 10-2.
Without a doubt. But, they were at that next level, then fell down. What's up, everybody on YouTube? Hope you guys are having a fantastic week as we roll through it. If you get a little time and you haven't, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all the support. Hit that like button and turn that notification bell on so you know every time we're dropping content, which is pretty much every 30 minutes.